Well, good morning. It's good to see all of your faces this morning. Welcome to Philadelphia. It sounds like you had a fantastic day yesterday. How many of you really enjoyed your time at the park and your scavenger hunt and challenges? All right, good, looks good. We're really excited to have you here. Congratulations. I know this was quite a journey and you all have been working on this for several months with your schools and your teachers. We're thrilled to have you today. Your journey's not quite over. You're gonna have a phenomenal opportunity today to really engage with some great corporate executives, learn from some mentors, refine your pitches, and I know tomorrow is your big day where you're going to be putting, all of your cards on the table with your pitch for the grand prize challenge. So congratulations on being here today. We're thrilled to have you. Look forward to getting to know you better. I'm Anne-Marie Krautheim, as Rusty said. I'm a registered dietitian, so if any of you are interested in nutrition for a career, I'd be happy to talk with you about what that looks like and how to get there. I am the president and chief wellness officer for Gen Youth. Gen Youth founded Adventure Capital with our founding partner support from SAP about 7-8 years ago. So we're really thrilled to have the opportunity to hold our first Adventure Capital National Challenge experience here at the SAP headquarters today. So I just want to have you join me in thanking our folks from SAP who are here with us, Aaron and Chris, for hosting us here at the SAP headquarters. I would also like to ask that you join me in welcoming and recognizing the additional funding sponsors for our first national challenge. I'm going to briefly have each person stand to be recognized, and then we can give them a round of applause. We have Brooke from Land O'Lakes. Ragalie-Carr, National Dairy Council. Ronda, who is with Corteva. And Jim, who is here with Domino's. How many Domino's pizza fans do we have in the room? All right, quite a few, me as well. So again, I don't want to take up a lot of your time this morning. We're just thrilled to have you here. Gen Youth is so proud of this program. It's really making a difference in the lives of thousands of students across the country, and you really exemplify what this program's really about. It's about taking on a challenge, being an entrepreneurial thinker, working along the way to troubleshoot and refine your plan, and then learning and seeking input from those who have really taken this walk before you. And that's really what this weekend is all about. So thanks again for being here. I'd like to turn it over to Chris from SAP. He's the Senior Vice President, Regional Senior Vice President. And pardon?
Close enough.
And but he's going to be our host today, and I'm going to turn it over to him. So please join me in welcoming Chris.
Thank you so much. Testing. Cinnamon buns. Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to SAP's North American headquarters. You're going to learn, working with some of the SAP folks that you're going to meet today, is that we love our company. We love it here, and we welcome people to come to our national headquarters here, and congratulations. So first of all, a round of applause for you guys making it this far in the AdCap Challenge. Great to see you all here. Second round of applause, I do need to say, is, and I will represent SAP and our sponsors to the teachers out there. We're humbled by everything you guys do. It allows us to do what we do every day. So thank you very much, teachers, and for everything you do. So we appreciate it. So the AdCap Challenge, this isn't my first experience with it. Last year I was on a panel. I got to serve on a panel with Gerard Mayo, captain of the New England Patriots from Boston. I was a big fan. I am from Boston today, guys, so you can rag on me later for my Bruins last night not being able to get it done. But it let me get some sleep today, so I'm nice and refreshed for all you guys this morning. But the AdCap Challenge is why we're so excited, is we really need leaders at companies like SAP and our partners. We need leaders to step up, and the AdCap Challenge is an opportunity to foster the leadership of tomorrow and that entrepreneurial spirit that you guys bring to bear in these challenges. So we're thrilled that you're here, and we're excited for a couple of good days to host you here at SAP. More important, why the AdCap Challenge matters. In support of Land O'Lakes, National Dairy Council, Corteva, big fan, and Domino's Pizza. Thank you for what you guys do, and thank you for being here with us. But I think I speak for all of them when it comes to talking about what we're looking for. There are big challenges in this world today. We try to, on a daily basis, try to work with our companies to make them lessen a burden on our own companies and on other companies, and that's what SAP tries to do every day. We only look at it from our eyes. You don't need an old man like me trying to solve youthful problems. We need the youth of today stepping up and really addressing these problems yourself. It is a big help to us, and it's a big help to our partners. So thank you very much. All right. When I was talking to I have 3 daughters. One's in high school, one's in 8th grade, one's in 6th grade. When I was talking to them and saying, what am I going to tell a bunch of high school kids tomorrow? They say, well, do me a favor. Don't try to be cool, because you're so not cool. But SAP's cool. They say, talk about SAP. SAP's a great company. Not only are we a great company because I get to buy them the things that they want to do, but it really, we do great things. We help companies run better, but we do it with purpose. And what you're going to see as you go out and you join the job market is that you're not only going to want to make money, and you're going to want to be able to do so with a company that has purpose. And I know our partners all have purpose of their own. Mine that I'm so excited about with SAP is women in senior leadership. My boss's boss happens to be a female, and before that, it was a woman as well. And raising 3 daughters, it makes me more and more excited that the opportunity out there is endless for them. So, SAP, what do we do? Right? A lot of people, especially out there, have absolutely no idea. We work with companies like the NBA and the NHL to have a better relationship with their fans. We work with Pepsi-Cola, Coca-Cola, to make sure they're bringing new and refreshing drinks to market for you guys. We work with Nike. We work with Under Armour to make sure that they have the coolest clothes for you guys to wear. But that's the business side of the house. Who likes rhinos and elephants? Seriously, we work to make sure rhinos and elephants are safe. We help the deforestation of the rainforest. We support and help people during storms to make sure they're well aware. These are part of the purpose of SAP, and I challenge you guys as you're out endeavoring in your careers, when you get beyond where you are today, is to have purpose and make sure that purpose is meaningful and drive that. He told me to turn my phone off. I didn't listen, did I? And that purpose is meaningful for you guys as well. So I told a story when I'm on the panel during last year's campaign, and I thought everybody knew it, but the generational, it's kind of lost its luster. But the story is about a tractor-trailer truck, and the tractor-trailer truck gets stuck in a tunnel. And the engineers and the fire department, is everybody there with big cranes trying to figure out how we're going to get this tractor-trailer truck out of the tunnel. And the little girl walks up. It was told to me as a little boy, but I have 3 daughters. So a little girl walks up and says, why don't you just let the air out of the tires? It's something that simple and a different view that helps the crowds free the truck from the tunnel. That's what we need, and that's what we're looking for as part of the AdCap challenge, excuse me. We really need a fresh look at the world's biggest problems today. It's that entrepreneurial spirit and that leadership and that fresh look that are going to help us all address today's problems. They're given some what you would think is pretty simple problems about technology in technology use with the youth today. My God, I get home and my kids are on their phones all day. I need help to be able to address those problems. There are a myriad of problems, even from a business perspective, that we need a fresh and a young look. And I applaud you guys and thank you for being here to be able to help us do that. And hopefully that's going to help address yourselves in your future as well. So my ask of you guys today, before I hand it back over to Rusty, is listen, enjoy yourself, have fun, be humble. It's tough for me to say. We're from Boston. That was a good opportunity for us to be humble after last night. But be humble enjoy the assets that are coming to bear for you guys today. SAP is thrilled to have you. I know our partners are thrilled to have you today as well. And welcome. Anything I can answer for you guys at the end of this, I'm happy to do so, and have fun this week. Thanks, guys.
Good morning, everybody. You know, it might be raining and kind of miserable out there, but that will not dampen our spirits, will it? No. I heard you had a great time at the Valley Forge yesterday. Sounded very cool. I had no idea what you were talking about this morning when you were telling me about the zombies and different things, but I learned about it. So I want to do that. That sounds really neat, to do the scavenger hunt, you know, on technology. Sounds really neat. You know, and it's always, I'm from Chicago, and so coming here to Philadelphia and into the Philadelphia area, and you see all these historic, you know, markers, our forefathers, Valley Forge, you know, the Independence Hall, and really amazing national treasures, right? But it made me think about why we're all here today, and that is because you, our youth, you, the students, are our nation's greatest national treasure. And I think all of us, like you were saying, believe that, or we wouldn't be here and be a part of this. We so believe in you guys and what you've done, and it is amazing that you made it this far. Like, congratulations. It's fantastic. Really, hats off to you. I'm so excited to see what you're going to share with us today, and really feel fortunate. But I'm also glad that we can have a few minutes here today to talk about the AdCap Challenge and why we as corporate sponsors are interested in this program. And I know, you know, as president of National Dairy Council working on behalf of dairy farmers, that when we heard about the AdCap Challenge, we were all over it. I mean, we were so excited to be a part of it, to see the challenges, to wanna really see and hear from you. I just love what you were saying, Chris, about seeing it through your eyes. You have to understand, we really are here because we want to hear what you have to say. We know what we would think, you know, but it is solutions to societal problems, to issues around health and wellness in a new way are going to come from you. You're going to help make it happen. You're going to help make this world a better place, and we will learn from you. You today, as I've learned in working with you guys over the years, you're leaders today. When I meet you, and I've talked to you, the panel up here, we are so amazed when we interact with you and talk to you and hear about your ideas, your solutions, your thinking, that we just want to step back and make sure that you have the opportunity to help solve those problems. So thank you very much. So what I'd like to do right now is just really take a minute here and let everybody introduce themselves and talk about why we as a corporation are each interested in this AdCap Challenge, and what really made you connect with it and want to be a part of it. And I'll start it with saying that as a part of the National Dairy Council working on behalf of dairy farmers across this nation, and we have a dairy farmer that's up there. I hope you guys can have a chance to meet Audrey right from New York State if you want to learn something about farming, because very few people know much about farming. But to look at, you know, the solutions to issues around sustainable nutrition, how people look at food. I'm also a dietitian like Anne-Marie, and how people look at food today and how you guys look at food is so much different than how we did. So I'm really interested to learn more about what you guys think about that and solutions to what we call, you know, sustainable nutrition, or where food comes from and how we can make it connect more to you. So with that, I'll hand it over to you.
All right, great.
Yeah.
So I'm Jim Zimmer, and I work. Can you hear me now? All right. I can speak much lower now and use my microphone voice. I'm Jim Zimmer, and I am from Domino's Pizza in Ann Arbor, Michigan, where I work in the marketing department. I've been with Domino's for 17 years, always in marketing. Many different hats in marketing, national marketing, product development, national media planning, but most currently, I am working on a product that we have developed for schools, for the K through 12 market It is a whole grain, low fat, low sodium pizza product that school districts can serve to students in school lunch, and it meets all of the National School Lunch Plan requirements that the government requires for reimbursement. So it's a huge product for us. We partnered with the Dairy Council on this as a way to help us in developing a great tasting, low sodium, whole grain product. Many of you have hopefully been eating it in your school lunches. It's absolutely delicious. And we're super happy that it's been a program that has grown since 2010 for us about 700%. So schools have embraced it, and we're really happy to be able to provide it. So that's what I'm doing currently. And to answer your other question about why AdCap Challenge, I mean, Domino's Pizza, the 5,900 stores in the US now, and 93% of our stores are franchise owned. So we have over 800 franchisees, and we as a company, I mean, it's a perfect fit for us because we were born of entrepreneurial thinking, right? Our founder in 1960 thought, oh, I'll deliver pizza in 30 minutes or less. And he grew this brand to now the #1 brand in the world, #1 brand in the US. And 90% of our franchisees started as drivers, pizza makers, or order takers. So very entrepreneurial, and we want to encourage this thinking. These guys, run their own businesses, and what better place for us to engage with youth and encourage entrepreneurial thinking, hopefully driving more entrepreneurial thinkers. We certainly need to engage with our communities, and kids and students are certainly a big part of our business. So it was a great opportunity, and we're excited to see and actually have had a sneak peek at some of the thinking. So it was very, very interesting and very innovative. So we're excited to be here.
Thanks, Jim. Great. Rhonda.
So hi, everyone. How many of you have heard of Corteva Agriscience? Perfect. The one team probably that. Right. Thank you for that. So the rest of you, I'd like to introduce you to Corteva Agriscience. So Corteva Agriscience is a brand new, what we like to kind of tease and say is a 200-year-old startup. So about a week and a half ago, we became an independent company. So we are part of what was a merger that is now independent. And so we focus on essentially 3 areas. We focus on agriculture from seed, crop protection, and digital. And so if you're interested in any of those areas, I'd love to talk to you more about that, and we'll have some time the next couple of days to talk. But my background, I'm an educator as kind of what I started as. Then I became a scientist, and now I feel like I've come full circle back to education today, working with you all, and I'm very excited about that. So Corteva's kind of purpose is to enrich the lives of those who produce and those who consume, ensuring progress for generations to come. So I think just in our mission statement, it relates to exactly what we're doing here. So we want to make progress, so entrepreneurial, innovative, new ideas, new ways of thinking about how we operate and how we help farmers and our consumers as well. The fact that our purpose statement has a focus on producers and consumers, that's a shift for us. Typically we focused on our customer, which were farmers. But now we're focusing on a consumer audience, so how can we engage more with consumers, and you all can help us do that. And so we're trying to partner with students because you're, like has already been said, you're the future, you're the entrepreneurs, innovators, and really those terms don't come with an age limit. You can start being an entrepreneur today. You could have started when you were 5. It's a mindset, it's not an age. And so you all have a place already within any of our industries, and we're happy to partner with you and help you grow. And in return, you're helping us grow as well. So thank you.
Thank you. I think both of you made some good points about entrepreneurial and innovative, and no matter what company you're in, no matter if it's a real hardcore corporate headquarters, being entrepreneurial is vital, right, in that job, that you think ahead and think creatively and are innovative, and you will go far. So I'm sure that's true at Land O'Lakes. Yes. So Brooke, tell us about it.
Hi everyone, my name is Brook Dillon, and I work on the corporate communications team at Land O'Lakes. And I'm sure when you hear Land O'Lakes, you first think of butter. And that is true, and we want you to continue buying our butter. But we're also much more than butter. We own Purina Animal Nutrition. So we feed horses, pigs, all the farm animals you can think of, and zoo animals. We have another offshoot named Missouri, and that feeds almost every zoo animal in the country, from crickets to chinchillas to giraffes. We own Missouri as well. So all animal feed under the Purina name, except for dog and cat, which Nestle owns. We also have Winfield United, which is our crop input and ag technology company. So that's probably our biggest sector of Land O'Lakes, which you probably didn't know. And then we have a sustain unit because as we go forward with limited resources available in agriculture, we need to be sustainable to make sure that in the future we can feed people with less land, less water. So within our dairy foods division, which kind of leads into the question we asked, we do a lot of food service, also our butter and cheese, which everyone knows us for, but then specialty powders as well. We make the cheese powder for Cheetos, for example. So Land O'Lakes is a farmer-owned co-op. We like to say that farmers are the original entrepreneurs. So this is another reason why we thought this challenge was such an important thing to be a part of and invest in. Like them, agriculture is one of the oldest industries on the planet, and they've made it to this point. It's getting a little harder these days, as we know, for dairy farmers and crop farmers with the weather and climate change and everything that's being thrown their way. So they need to continue to be innovative and entrepreneurial in order to see these challenges through and make sure that we are able to face the giant challenge which all of us have together, which is to feed an estimated population of 10 billion people by 2050. So how are we going to do that? We need your minds. You guys know tech better than any of us up here on this panel. We need innovative, outside-the-box thinking. At Land O'Lakes, we just had a new CEO, Beth Ford, our first female CEO named to the company, and she's shaking things up in a big way. We don't want to be known as the butter company anymore. We want to be known as a tech company. So we're moving into tech in extremely different ways, innovative ways, and you guys are the future. That's going to help us make sure we can provide nutritious food with limited resources and do it in a way that leverages tech to the best of our ability. Yeah, Land O'Lakes, our purpose is feeding human progress. So
Awesome.
that's our charge, and thank you for joining in that.
Great. Well, Chris, we know you're a sad Bruins
Sad
fan.
Bruins fan.
You have 3 kids.
Still have 2 trophies ongoing in
And
Boston.
tell
right
us
now, so.
more about.
Great, thanks. So right now I am I'm a regional vice president at SAP by title, but what that means is I lead sales teams that go into companies like Domino's, like Land O'Lakes, like I don't cover your company per se, but Maryland, Virginia. Milk Producers is one of ours. And what we do is we help those companies run better. And we do it with a myriad of technologies. But we do it with purpose. And I talked about purpose in my intro. There are many different elements of that. I love to hear that she feeds zoo animals, and we help keep rhinos and elephants safe to be able to buy more of her food. So SAP, what you'll see is as you're working with these folks, we work with a lot of passion. We have a diverse amount of expertise to be able to go into Land O'Lakes and talk dairy, then be able to go and talk chemicals with other companies and mining and you name it. It's a phenomenal place. But the other point I wanted to bring up is our dedication to the youth of this country. We've established several years ago through the brainchild of our CEO Bill McDermott a sales academy, and what we do is we bring the brightest minds coming right out of college with very little experience, and we bring them into SAP as part of our academy, and they become a vital and integral part of SAP. And it's a phenomenal program. It's been widely successful. So what we look for is entrepreneurial spirit like you guys have. And it's great to know that we have a burgeoning market coming up with you guys. So thank you for coming again.
Great. You know what, I'd like to just expand a little bit. Brooke, you talked about some of the reasons your company wanted to do this challenge, but Rhonda, I wondered if you might mention for the challenge that you guys supported, what some of the reasons behind that?
Yeah, so food insecurity and food production. So the growing population, less land available for use, less water. Brooke mentioned some of those things too. So how do we solve that problem? We don't want to have food insecure people, period, anywhere in the world, right? And so how can we help with that challenge? And so for us, we're a global company. We operate in 142 countries. And so thinking this through from a very local to a global perspective is really what it's all about. And so I think most of our solutions are multi-pronged, right? So what can be implemented on a scale for a local community can then be expanded and grow. And so for us, it's really all about how do we prevent terrible things from happening, because if you think about it, just imagine what a food insecure world, if we didn't have enough food to feed people, would look like. There would be wars over food. There would be destruction of all of our natural resources. So all the parks and the rainforests and such that we enjoy today and that we have still today are because we've been able to increase our production to a point where we don't have to destroy that, right? We can feed people with the resources that we have, and we need to maintain that. And so that's really where our challenge lies, is how do we make the most of the land and the materials that we already have, so that we don't have to run through those terrible scenarios and see any of those come to light. We would really prefer to avoid that world, and we know that we can do that through innovative thinking and problem solving. That's exactly what you guys are doing.
You know, it is staggering, and I think it can't be underscored enough. I remember when I started working on the issue of food security on a global level, but that in reality, if people don't have enough food, nothing else matters. You got to eat to live. And so it's about national security. It's about safety. It's about, having a society that functions. So having this huge growth in the population, how we feed them is really a challenge for you and all of us to address. So well put. The other thing I was thinking about, Jim, was, pizza in schools and the importance of school meals. That, that is a lifeline, school meals for many kids, because many kids come, and I'm sure as teachers you guys see it, kids come to school hungry. And if you're hungry, guess what? You can't learn. And if you can't learn, you're not going to be a great member of society. So making sure we get kids not only nutritious, but delicious food.
Right.
So
Right.
Anyway, can you talk about your challenge? Because I think the recycling
Right.
concept is so interesting, and some interesting ideas out there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to build on the Smart Slice pizza, the beautiful thing is kids, right, they're hungry. So many kids don't eat from the end of the day, Friday till Monday morning. But a delicious pizza with, that dairy nutrition, that whole grain nutrition, drives them into the cafeteria. They want it, they eat it, and it's delicious. So, but yeah, the pizza box. So for us, think about that pizza box. There's a lot of technology in that corrugated box. It has to have a certain structure. It has to vent a certain way. It has to be able to be folded flat. I mean, there are a lot of things driving to make sure that pizza gets to you in good condition, hot, ready to eat. But with that comes a lot of waste, right? And so, as Russell in the challenge, that question, and when he recorded it, we all need to do our part to reduce waste and encourage recycling, and it really benefits our communities. And I think there's a lot of confusion around the pizza box. There's a lot of them. The average pizzeria, 55 a day. You get it in your home. We've now got 5,900 stores selling lots of pizza boxes every day. So we really, really need some thinking on how that can be recycled. It's a lot of confusion around pizza boxes. Can you recycle them? Can't you recycle them? And so we were super excited to get some thinking around that. We had, on our part, we're working toward 100% recycled materials making up our boxes. We're testing campaigns around composting. So we're really trying to do our part to help with that waste and encourage upcycling. So yeah, I think it could really be a huge benefit. I mean, in terms of reducing the amount of those things that end up in landfills and.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's always a question at my house. Can we recycle it or
Yes.
can't we? I mean, it's forever.
I know. You could make a shelter out of it.
I'm not going to, right. I think there's an idea there. Okay. How about, for any of the panel members to think about what are the potential repercussions of the challenge that you're addressing about it not being solved in our lifetime? And any thoughts, Brooke?
So I'll start and say, our challenge is ensuring that your community has nutritious food available and that they're being encouraged to eat healthy, really. So I think the challenge is feeding the world, right? A growing population, but we have to start small. So I think starting in your community and just reaching as far as you can yourself is going to start that process and go a long way. A lot of the things we talk about at Land O'Lakes is if we don't start solving these challenges now, in 10 years, 20 years, it's just going to compound and it's going to be out of anybody's reach, control. Nobody can change that then. One of the big things we talk about at Land O'Lakes is kind of this rural-urban divide and access to healthy food. There's a big problem right now with access to healthy food being available in rural communities. So if you can start thinking about innovative ways to encourage your classmates, your neighbors to eat healthy, especially if you're from a rural community, this is going to go a long way in helping us solve this bigger problem of feeding a growing world and encouraging healthy eating.
Awesome, thanks. Chris, any thoughts?
You know, from a technology perspective, you know, we try to create technology solutions that make people's lives better. And in many times, those technology solutions create almost a fictional world for some people that can't get themselves out of that area. And it's important because the connection that technology brings to, you know, the elderly. I heard a story one time when they asked an elderly person a question about phones, and they expected the person to go off on how everybody is doing nothing but on their phones all day. And she said, the phone brings me life. It brings me access to the world. If you asked me a question when I was a kid, it would take me a week sometimes to get an answer. You can get that answer now in 20 seconds. So we do have the positive of it. There's a lot of negatives, I think, which you see every day. And what we need is the view into some of those negative aspects of what we do and a little bit better access and help to address those problems.
You know, I'm going to change the conversation. I'm going to ask you first, Chris, which is, I think all of the students and young people, and you were talking about the importance of working for a company with a purpose, but what about the work any or all of you guys do in the communities that of which your companies are in? Can you just share, you know?
I can. We do a lot. Every October we have a month of service in which everybody at SAP gets a day off of work to be able to go into the community and support whatever initiative you feel would benefit your community the most, from painting schools to cleaning up parks to doing traditional things that a Boy Scout might do. And we do that in such extreme amounts of people that it makes a significant impact to the community. And we do it with our partners. I can bring up an example. We partnered with Stanley Black & Decker, where they provided us with the tools that went to fix a playground. So that's one of many aspects of what we do. Autism at Work is another one of our more important initiatives, where we take individuals on the spectrum and we give them employment. And you'll see that we have a significant amount of our workforce right out of this building that are autistic. And those are opportunities that people may not have had 10, 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's a deep passion of SAP to be able to give back to the community, and it's a great opportunity for us to do so.
I think it is so important to every company. Brooke, any
So we essentially were built by a community of farmers. So community is one of our pillars. Really giant deal. Land O'Lakes, it's kind of just embedded in who we are. We have 50 different local organizations that we're encouraged to go donate our time to, volunteer at, and then our company matches back those hours in money to the company. We have a United Way Week, which is huge. We do a ton of, because in our food service, we make mac and cheese, Land O'Lakes mac and cheese, which you may eat in your high school. We donate a lot of that to food banks around the country. We just did a 40,000 pound mac and cheese donation to Second Harvest Heartland in St. Paul last week. So giving back is giant. And then also giving back in a different way and partnering with companies like Gen Youth and trying to inspire people like you, the next generation, to kind of carry on the work we're doing now, give back to the community, realize the importance of our work. It's kind of the secondary give back community.
And I would say for all of us, this is a part of our community work, and with it, working with schools. I know for dairy farmers, they've worked with schools for over 100 years and making sure working together with those schools to make sure kids are well fed, and as part of that is making sure that dairy is on the menu because it provides such vital nutrients for growth and development, and also making sure that people understand how we care for our land, our animals, as well as the products we produce. The other thing we do is in the hunger area too, very much like you guys, probably learned from you actually, from Land O'Lakes, but making sure that we have a major initiative. We work with Feeding America and getting milk is one of the least donated but most requested items in food banks. And as you can imagine, when families go to food banks, they want milk, but it's heavy or it has to be refrigerated. It's been difficult for them to handle that. So we've been working closely with them. And then also we get the honor to work with farmers. And to do that, I found that the young people that work for us, this is one of the most inspiring aspects, to go back to the farm, to help farmers, whatever that means in the situation. But that is helping the communities in rural areas. So Jim, what about you and your communities?
Yeah, our franchisees are very engaged in their local communities. As local business people in those communities, it's very important that they support what's important to those communities. Certainly food, pizza is something that we always are able to provide. They do tons of donations to local hospitals, first responders, whenever there is a situation where a relief is needed and power is out and floods are happening and hurricanes are hitting. Domino's is always first on hand with free pizza to help people recover. And what's better than
pizza is comfort food.
It's perfect.
Right? I mean,
it is
you want
perfect.
Pizza
exactly.
at that point.
Yeah, it's a great.
And a glass of milk.
And a glass of milk, of course.
Chocolate milk.
Yeah. And so that's important. As a national brand, we also make pizza donations, but importantly, we support St. Jude is a huge charity that we partnered with for the past 15 years, raising over $57 million, really from our customers, right? Our customers in communities donating to our stores during Thanksgiving. We had a record year last year. It's a hugely important charity to our franchisees and our stores, and then within their communities, the support has been record-breaking.
And your customers in those communities want that. They want,
yes.
They feel better about that. You feel better about going to Domino's when they're doing that.
As a corporate citizen, a good corporate citizen,
right.
We need to support
and you're
communities.
You're so much a
and
part
give
of
back.
The community. Those franchises are everywhere,
Exactly.
So you're a part of the community.
Right.
So Rhonda, how about you?
So within Corteva, we have a program called Corteva Grows, and within that, we have 3 pillars, and those pillars are empowering women, enabling youth, and engaging communities. And so our whole purpose for the company, and everyone has goals around one or all 3 of those areas. And so within those, we also have, like some of the others have mentioned, employee engagement opportunities. So we encourage our employees to go out and you're already a part of your community, but how can we elevate that even more? And we provide, time for our employees to go, resources for our employees to go and do good in their communities. And so we have 3 employee resource groups and employee programs and engagement opportunities around food security, hence the reason the challenge is here. Right. So food security is one. The other is science outreach. So talking about the sciences and what science is around and involved within Corteva Agriscience. And I mentioned the seeds, the crop protection, and the digital. So everything from technology and drones and how those are used to chemistry and biology and entomology. So all of the above. And then the third one is green space. So looking at green spaces and how can we improve green spaces within our communities, whether that be a school outdoor learning lab or a pollinator habitat to support pollinator populations. We have a big program going on with National 4-H and Pheasants Forever to establish pollinator habitats at all of our facilities within the U.S. To encourage pollinator habitats. So those are just some of the examples. We have lots of partnerships with lots of companies and nonprofit organizations to support them in their efforts. Habitat for Humanity is an example that comes to mind that you might know of. But a wide variety of organizations and nonprofits that we support.
I think it's a fabulous question and such an interesting answer. And I would say to you guys that when you are, in a few years, you're really in the job market, asking those companies when you interview what they do, not only, because I think there's 2 questions here that you might think are the same, but one is, what do you do to give back on a corporate level, and then what do you do in your own communities? Because when you work there, you are a part of the community. I think it's a fascinating answer to see how diverse it is, and it probably speaks, to different people here what's interesting. The other,
if I could add one thing too, we, in our roles, when we have a lot of folks working for you, you interview a lot of people. And 90% of the time, it's us asking you a lot of questions. And what I've seen lately is the questions are now coming back to me, and they're asking me, what's your diversity program at SAP? And how are you enabling diverse candidates to succeed? And what are you doing in the community to make the community better with the profits that you're showing on Wall Street?
Yeah.
They're challenging us in return, and that's the sign of somebody that really wants to come work for you. They want to make sure they're coming to work for a company that they're going to be able to grow a long-term career in. So,
That it's a
sorry
good
to interrupt.
match both ways, not just one way, you know? Rhonda, did you have something?
And I was going to add, if there's something that you're passionate about and you don't see it happening wherever you end up working, tell people about it. So our science outreach program, I have a great example of that. I brought that to Corteva Agriscience with a group of employees, not just myself. We got together and we formed that. We created that just from the ground up. We had a passion around it. We were getting invited to come to classrooms and do kind of science presentations. And so we said, how can we grow this, allow other people to do it? And so it really started from just passion of individuals. So figure out what you are passionate about and bring that to the company. There's nothing that can serve any company better than you being in the job that you love and that you're great at.
And you know, these students in particular, what I've seen getting to know some of you in this room, they have a passion, a very unique passion, and the way that you're coming at solving these problems, it comes out. And so that might be something that you're going to take on through high school, into college, and it will be a unique attribute that you're going to bring to the companies you work for.
Right.
The other thing I heard here that was interesting was women empowerment and how important that is in society today. So I'm looking out at the audience and seeing the women in the audience. And so if that's important to you, you need to ask that question. You need to look at those companies from that point of view. You know, working for the dairy industry and the farming industry, which is a common theme here, and I'm looking at Audrey Donahoe, who is our chairman of the board. She is a woman. She is the boss of the farm. We learned this morning, I knew that. You know, and she's a fifth generation farmer. So you don't always think of farmers and farming and women, you know, as running the farm, but I know every farmer family that I've met, it's both the man and the woman together making that farm work. So it's funny how that plays out. Okay, so next I want to ask the question about what is one piece of advice you have for students after they walk out of this meeting tomorrow? Whether they get the grand prize or not, what is your advice to them? Jim, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, you guys are already, you know, one step ahead of a lot of students out there in terms of you're getting involved, you're working on problems, you're sharing your thoughts. And my advice as you move forward is to continue to do that. Continue to be bold, to contribute, to share your thinking. You know, when you're hired by a company, when you're invited to a meeting, when you're there because they want to hear from you. You know, don't be afraid to share your thoughts and be bold, I guess and you know, they want to hear from you. It's great advice that someone gave to me early in my career. It was like, if you're there, contribute. Don't feel that it's not important, because it is. So I would say continue to do what you're doing, getting involved, sharing your thoughts, getting your thinking out there.
Such good advice. We just got a new crop of, you know, student interns for the summer, and I'll tell you that it first of all livens up the whole company when when the interns show up. But it's so true. They're there because we want you there, because we want them there, and we want to hear from them. And we try to really embolden them to be able to speak up. Rhonda, how about you? What's your advice?
So I would say take this opportunity to get to know each other, get to know all of us. Don't underestimate the power of networking and knowing as many people that get to know you as well as you get to know them. You have those contacts. Don't forget those contacts. So, you know, keep in touch. If there's things that you are looking for or a question as you're, you know, kind of progressing through, don't be afraid to shoot people an email and say, you know, hey, do you have a quick, 30 minutes for a phone call? I've got an interview coming up and I'd love to have somebody to practice with. Or, those kinds of relationships, the mentoring, the coaching, the networking, even amongst yourselves, will last a lifetime and be very, very valuable. I don't think we underestimate how valuable that is, but I can speak from personal experience that every job I have had in my professional career has come from a networking situation, not because I applied via the normal channels and just sent it off and let it go. It was because I was actively, someone knew me, I'd talked to them, I'd had contact with them, and asked them for coaching and help. So
Network, connections, whatever you want to call it,
Exactly.
is vital. And don't let age, be a discriminating factor. If, some of us are older, a lot older than you, don't let that stop you. Connect with everybody, no matter what their age. You're going to have something in common, and it'll pay off in the long run.
So here's one thing that I'll add. So challenge yourself to anytime you're in a situation like this, to go up to one person that you have not met, don't know, and introduce yourself. As simple as that. Just start there. At every meeting you go to, and it'll soon become habit, and it won't be as scary the more you do it.
True.
And that you never know where that one person that was standing kind of off that you didn't know and you introduce yourself, what that might lead to.
Great advice. Brooke, how about you?
I have 3 quick ones, so I'm breaking the rules. But
Okay.
I'm going to underscore what Ronda said before. It's like,
Steal my time.
Yeah.
find work you're
We're in a whole
passionate
room
in.
of rule breakers, so go for it.
Like Rhonda said, be passionate about the work you're doing, do meaningful work to you, because that's when you're going to bring 100% of your talent and skill and really, aggression's the wrong word, but the hard work you want to do, that's when you're going to bring it to that role and you're going to be amazing. Second, build each other up. Like your success is everybody else's success in this room, so working together, learning from each other is key. And lastly, I'm going to steal this from our CEO, but get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's only in those moments when you're uncomfortable that you learn and you innovate and you find a way forward, and that's going to be key.
Chris?
All right, not to sound negative, but I'm going to go off script.
Oh,
Where's
boy.
my PR
Watch
people?
out.
It's my building. I'm allowed to do that, right?
You are.
So my daughter, she's in 8th grade. I talk a lot about my kids. She's in 8th grade. She played lacrosse for the first time this year. Not very good. It's hard to pick up lacrosse if you've done it. So I go to her first game, and I show up a couple of minutes late, and I ask, hey, what's the score? And their response was, oh, they don't keep score. 8th grade. 8th grade, you're a young adult, right? You're 14 years old, and girls lacrosse does not keep score in Massachusetts. And it was like shaking my head saying, what on earth? So my point to you here is, this is a competition, right? In life is almost a competition. I have 26 salespeople, and I can tell you who's the top of the pack and who's the bottom of the pack at any given point. What I ask you to do is embrace that competition, right? Somebody's going to win at the end of this. Go shake their hand. Ask them what they did better, and say, I'm going to be better next time. And that's going to give you the life lesson to be able to succeed and give you the energy to be able to go out and do that in the real world. So, sorry, PR, I went a little off script
good.
there, but.
I like it. Embrace competition. I like get uncomfortable. And sometimes speaking in public can be one of those uncomfortable moments, sometimes even asking questions in large groups. But I am opening the floor to questions from large groups. So let's take this advice and hear from you guys. What questions do you have for the panel?
My name is Mike Rivera. I'm with G Foods from Hamilton, Ohio. And you all seem to really enjoy the work that you do. And I was just curious what aspect of your work or what aspect of the company that you work for makes you most proud to do that work or work for that company.
I'll go ahead,
I'll
Brooke.
just raise my hand first and start. It's our mission and our purpose in the work we do every day. It's I'm not doing PR for something frivolous. This is going to come off wrong. Something frivolous like CoverGirl makeup. It's something different. It is really changing the world and helping people, and I get behind that. And secondly, it's like everybody who works at Land O'Lakes has that shared
Passion.
that shared commitment, that shared passion, that shared we're all in this together kind of mentality, and it's a completely amazing place to work, and it's really unique.
Chris?
I like working with people and making them successful. If you ever choose to come into sales, you'll learn you need to be self-motivated. You need to be able to ask questions to get better. And in my current role, I love to be able to work with my team and make them successful, where I'm to a point now that I'm a proud dad when when one of my employees has a big win, or one of my employees gets a big award out there. So it's empowering the people that work for you is a phenomenal part of what we do every day.
Jim?
Let's see, Domino's pizza, fun. I mean, hello,
fun.
we're not.
Okay,
we
fun
are
is good,
feeding
I'm
the
adding
world, but with pizza.
Yeah.
So it's a super fun brand to work on, and also Domino's is a brand. What's really great, Domino's. I mean, not to toot our own horn, but we're very smart and we're very customer focused as a brand. You know, we are transparent. We changed our pizza from top to bottom for our customers in 2010 based on their input, right? They told us, yeah, your pizza's not so good. So we stepped back and we said, you know what? We're gonna change it for you, right? And ever since then, as a brand, everything we do for our customers. It's a very fun brand to work on. We focused on technology because our customers want to be able to order wherever they are, however they want to. We did hotspots. We filled potholes. We're very customer focused, and that is a fun brand to work on because we care about our customers, and it comes through in everything that we do. And it's
If you don't have fun in life, what's the point, right? So, I mean,
Right.
having a purpose for sure. I think everybody has explained that, how important a purpose was. But having fun,
Yeah, and we have
working
we
for
have
a
chant,
product you believe
right?
in.
Sell more
Yeah.
pizza, have more fun. Is part of our culture. It's part of our culture. Yeah.
It's unfair. We're up against Domino's Pizza up
okay,
here.
all right. Rhonda,
Actually, Disneyland should be up here too.
So I'll go back to enrich the lives of those who produce and those who consume, ensuring progress for generations to come. So if you really internalize that, there's a lot of things that almost anyone can get behind, right? Whether you're passionate about consumers, whether you're passionate about farmers, whether you're passionate about working with future generations, there's something kind of there for everyone within our industry. So I think for us that helped. For me personally, I've been able to and had the fortunate career path to do a lot of different things. So I didn't have time to tell you about that. I'd love to talk about that the rest of the week. But I've done everything from being an entomologist. Anybody know what entomology is? Yellow.
Study of bugs, right?
Bugs, insects.
Bugs.
Yes, so I studied insects. Not your typical career, I'll just admit. So I did research and development for insects, and then I moved into a global academic relations role. So now I do education and outreach. I do K through Gray education and outreach, so all ages everywhere. And I absolutely love that. I have a global role, so I get to work around the world, not just here in the US.
Yeah.
And so that's super exciting and fun. Again, I think it goes back to my previous comment of just figure out who you are and how you can apply those passions to where you end up, and you'll be successful. For me, Corteva has been fantastic at letting me explore those different areas and do a lot of different things because it's what I like to do. I like to see the big picture of how everything kind of fits together. So I've had opportunities to move around in the company to see how all those things are brought together and how they influence one another and how I can build connections. I really like making connections between people and areas, and so again, it fit really well for me. And so, as you're exploring and looking for, what's next for me, asking those questions and getting a feel for the culture of the company. Am I going to be one thing my entire career? And if that's what you want, great. That's fantastic. Look for that kind of company where people don't move around very much and they do the same thing. If you want to explore more, you want to have a global role, ask those questions, because really it's the company's responsibility to find you the best area for you. So.
thank you. And I would add that, I came to work for dairy farmers because I believed in the product, about the important role that dairy plays in a healthy diet. I'm a dietitian, so when I went, it was like, I'm all about making sure people are eating well so they can do better in life. And I stayed because of dairy farmers, because they are amazing people that I believed in. They were hard workers. They needed to be represented, and we could together, feed the world and solve major global issues. So that's why I did. Any other questions out there? Here's one up front.
Hi, I'm Melissa from Island Trees. In your opinion, what's the most important life skill do you think you need for the corporate office? It's open to anyone.
I'm in sales. And I call it, I went to a university, a very large university, where if you bumped into somebody and you didn't ask them who they were and what their name was, you may never see that person again, right? So I call it the gift of gab. The gift of gab gave me the ability to go out and be able to network like you talked about, be able to go talk to customers, be able to engage, be able to get up on stage and have no fear and qualms about it. So be able to be comfortable within yourself and be comfortable be able to have discussions with just about anybody, and raise your hand out in an audience like that and ask us questions. That is a pivotal and vital role to regardless of what job you're going to have moving forward. So.
It made me think about inquiring minds want to know.
Yes.
So it's always inquiring, meeting, being curious, you know, and I would just add getting along is vitally important. You can be the smartest person in the room, know amazing information, but if you can't get along with people and solve problems, you're probably not going to succeed, or you're going to be in the back room.
And always, and a lot, to build on that, always be, you might be the smartest person in the room, but always be open to other ideas. Always be open to discussion and leverage the other people that you're working with in that way. Even though you may have the best idea and ultimately it may be the way that the project or the assignment goes, important skill is to be able to listen to other people and accept their input and consider it and don't dismiss it. I think is an important thing when you're in the corporate environment.
And I'd add, be flexible and embrace change, because those are two constant things within the corporate environment. Things change and you have to be ready to change with them, or you get left behind, and you certainly don't want to be somebody that's been left behind. So, you know, just like everywhere, right? Things constantly change. That's something that you can expect. I think it manifests itself in corporate world a little differently and maybe more obvious than in some other places. So I was the type of student, when I was sitting in your place, I knew exactly where I was going and what I was going to do. So I was going to be a veterinarian. Never been a veterinarian. So I did start with a pre-vet degree, but it didn't last long. So embrace that change when you find that, like, okay, I took that and that maybe doesn't feel like something that is maybe quite right for me. Embrace that change. Don't underestimate that feeling and that gut feeling in you that knows whether it's right for you or wrong for you.
Brooke, I know you had, we'll add, and then we'll take another question.
100% agree. Agility is key. Interpersonal communications, we see far too many people able to communicate more effectively through technology or on their phones versus in person, which I think we need to start kind of changing that tide a little bit again. And then lastly, I would just say ask for what you want. In life, nobody can read your mind. If you want to take on new responsibilities, ask for it. If you want a raise, ask for it. If you get a no, that's the worst you could get, but you never know what you're going to get until you ask. So,
good.
So Chris already kind of talked about like competition and failures, and at the start of our school year, Miss Letter had us write a failure resume. So like 5 things that we failed at and like what opportunities they led to. So could you guys say something in your careers that you failed at and like what opportunities it led to and what doors it opened up?
Great question.
That's a great question, a scary one to answer, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a past life for 2 years. I wasn't always in communications and PR. I decided one day I'm going to go out and do musical theater in New York. And
Okay.
I did, and I went in auditions, and there were 500 other girls that looked like me and sounded just like me and wanted to be Belle on the Disney Cruise Line, so I got a lot of no's. And some days you have to sit down and you're like, it's not me. They're looking for something that's beyond my control. I had 2 great years in New York. I came back and I got in this role. And now I'm in this job where I'm actually, I feel, serving a bigger purpose in feeding human progress, working in ag, working to solve some of these bigger challenges than I would have if I would have stayed and maybe did song and dance in New York, which is still great, but that's a big failure I learned from. And just knowing it's not you sometimes, it's just somebody else at that time is the right person.
You know, and I would just add that having those failures and learning what you don't like is as important as learning, and no, probably more important in learning what you like, because you really then get clarity as to what you're going to pursue. Like, oh, I did try to work in a hospital for a while, did not work. And I was like, okay, that's not going to be on I'm never going to do that again. But I needed to do it. I mean, it's classic of what a dietitian does. But it didn't work for me. And so I went, and it gave me much more clarity as to what I wanted to do.
Right.
Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, so failures. I mean, the Domino's is definitely a company that embraces bold moves, innovation, as you all know, and there have been failures along the way. I mean, I can think specifically about a couple of products that I rolled out over the years. An Oreo dessert pizza, which sounds kind of good, but it
Maybe
wasn't
not.
that good. But a lot of data that we had collected told us that it would be good. Sometimes you don't know until you roll it out there, but Domino's supports trial of innovation as well, right? And I think we campaigned once, failure is an option. As you seek success, you're gonna have failures. So it didn't do so great. Did okay, didn't do so great. On the other hand, Philly cheesesteak pizza, I rolled that out. It was a huge success. It stayed on our menu. It's still on our menu. So, I don't know, I guess the learning is keep trying. And you want to be in a company that supports that, because if a company's going to support bold innovation, they're going to have to be okay with some not so great success as we try to get big success.
We got another question?
What advice would you give your teenage self looking back now?
Oh, that's a good one.
So my teenage self was this is my path, and this is what I want to do. So I probably would give myself some advice to say, keep more of an open mind, which I ended up there, but I think at your age, that was not where I was. So I had pretty much, this is what I want to do for my career, and this is the direction I'm going. And it's good to have direction. So, but just keep an open mind to the other ways that you can apply. Even if you go down a direction and say, okay, this is my major and this is what I have studied, how can I broaden how can you use that? That would be my advice to myself anyway.
I would add, take advantage of leadership opportunities. This is one of them. But really go after those things, because I think that's where you're going to grow more than you realize. And you can take that into school, into college, into the workforce. So really go after those leadership opportunities.
Other
Anybody else?
than telling them to invest in Apple or Microsoft, my day is don't care what people think about what decisions you're making, right? Do them for yourself, do them for your family. Obviously you want to make decisions in the back of your head saying, how's this going to make me look? But then say, who cares? I really want to do this because this is what I want to do, and this is what's going to make me and my family successful.
So obviously we are all here for an idea, and we want to expand on this idea. We're very passionate about this. So working at Domino's, how can you expand as a company, and how can you expand on maybe breakfast, knowing that breakfast is the most important meal of the day?
Yeah, well, we are constantly seeking ways to innovate and to add products to our lineup. We are growing our business. We've grown most recently. We focused on carryout. For years we were a delivery business only, and we focused on carryout for the past several years, and now our carryout business is almost as big as our delivery business. So breakfast is tough because breakfast is very time sensitive. Breakfast is very drive-through driven. Most people are grabbing breakfast on their way to work, and they're grabbing it through a drive-through, which we don't offer. Delivered pizza, we've tested it. Delivered pizza for breakfast is tough because, again, it's super time sensitive. People don't really spend a lot of time planning their breakfast and then eating their breakfast, right? So we've tested it. Actually, a breakfast pizza made with liquid egg, sounds kind of gross, delicious. We actually have some breakfast pizzas out there in some college markets. From a consumer perspective, it's tough. So to answer your question, we did investigate it. No doors are closed. Would we find maybe eventually that a different type of product, maybe we could develop a different type of product, and then that could be a breakfast? It's not a focus day part for us, only because it's mostly driven by drive-through, and the size of the market for a delivered, is going to be not so big. But we're always looking at new products and new delivery methods and new technology and new ways to order. It's a huge focus for us.
What about your school?
That's such
And
a
our
great
school
question, because in business, and specifically what my team is tasked to do, is if I got a meeting with Mr. Zimmer, I would walk into his office and say, hey, the disruptors out there right now are the delivery companies on their phones. What's that going to do, and how are you going to be able to keep up now that you can get a pizza from anywhere? And that's the answer that we look for in businessmen talking to each other and how we're going to be able to work together. So I applaud the questions. Phenomenal way to think.
Well, I want to thank the panel so much. I learned a lot. Really great hearing from you guys. And thank you to all of you for amazing questions. We're really excited to hear from you today, hear about your innovative solutions. We're here because we believe in you, and we look forward to the rest of the day. So thanks very much.
Thank you.